Hello and welcome to the vlog. Hope you guys are well. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Seems a bit of an oxymoron these days, doesn't it? Especially as we've just been put into a third national lockdown. Anyway, I'm out in the garden, sitting in my hide. I'll be honest with you, I was thinking about mothballing the channel for a while, because even prior to Boris's announcement last night, we were in tier 4 anyway, so wasn't really much opportunity to go out and take photos. So, but I thought, you know what? I was watching Darren Knight's video on prepping his garden for the spring for birds and putting up nesting boxes. I'll put a link to it for you. Very good. And I thought, yeah, I haven't been out in my garden for a while. This a couple of days ago, so I thought I'd come out and see what's what. Maybe have a chat with you about how photographing birds in the winter is different, well, certainly for me, than it is in the summer. And yeah, so that's why I'm here. So let's see if we get any. So as I was saying previously, I've been out a few times here over the past few days, and I was really expecting to see a lot of the usual birds that show up. So I was thinking I was going to be seeing sort of sparrows and finches, blue tits, obviously robins, and starlings and the like, that maybe the blackbirds, the things that always turn up. But it's been completely different this year. Mainly the main birds, there's sort of been 3 birds that have been visiting mainly, and one of them's a little bit elusive, but I know it's here because I've captured it several times in the trees. That one is a Dunnock, so there's been Dunnocks around, which are tree sparrows essentially, or hedge sparrows I think. Robin, the old robin, obviously back and forward a lot, which is nice, but also blackcaps. I've never seen a blackcap before this year, never ever, and when I saw it a few days ago, it's the first time I've ever seen one. So yeah, so that was interesting, and that was one of the things that got me back out along with Darren's video. I was just wandering around and I sort of saw a bird. I thought I'm going to start really, making an effort, making sure the feeders are all. It's a robin. Hello, fella. No, you're not a robin. It is one of the Dunnocks. Thought that was the robin, but it wasn't. What was I saying? Yeah, so I was just glancing out the window, set all the food up, and I saw this bird, and I was like, from a distance, I was like, I don't recognise that at all. It doesn't look like any of the other birds. Not in terms of its colourings, because I was too far back really to notice all that, but it just looked different, looked bigger, sort of bulkier, a little bit sort of, stockier, if you like. And I was like, what is that? What are you? Ah, it's a blue tit. Saying about them. Yeah, it just looks stockier and bigger and bulkier, and yeah, when I got the camera out and got a closer look, I thought, what the hell is that? I've never seen that bird before. Looked it up on the old bird identifier, and it was a blackcap. So the male because the male has the black cap and the female has more of a sort of reddish browny one. I haven't seen a female yet. You never know, hopefully today. But yeah, that was really good. So there's a black cap at the moment and he's in and about. He's up there at the moment. And they're so difficult to capture because they're quite... Where's he gone? Drop down, they're quite quick. They move about a lot. And he doesn't want to sit on any of the perches that I've set up. So quick. He doesn't hang about anywhere for very long, except on the feeder when he seems to take a little bit of time on the feeder, but he just won't. Like, often he'll literally land in the trees, sit in the trees, and then bang, he's on the feeder straight in. He doesn't sit on any of the perches, he doesn't come in, he doesn't hang about, and he sits on the feeder for a little while and then off he goes again. He doesn't... It's quite difficult to capture a really good shot. So when I first saw him in the garden, that's the robin up there. When I first saw him in the garden, it was through a little gap in the trees, and I managed to get sort of an okay shot of him, which I'll put up for you actually. His tail was covered by some leaves and it wasn't, quite what I wanted. And I thought, oh, I'll get him soon, but he just will not come and sit on any of the perches by the feeders at all. Well, if he does, he's like, boom there, boom off. So, it's very elusive, actually. I might have got a nice couple of shots, actually, just now. We shall see, we shall see. I think I might have got some of him in the tree, but the other thing I was going to say about the difference between now and the summer months is that there's no direct light into the garden, direct sunlight, because the sun comes behind the house and it's too low at this time of year, and the house basically just throws the whole garden into shade. So that means that shutter speeds have got to come down a bit. So whereas I was shooting at around about 1500th of a second up to 2000 even when it was a sunny day with quite low ISOs, all of a sudden that's gone, so I'm shooting at sort of 800, 500 and sort of ISO up to 800. And the impact that has as well, knock-on effect of the lack of light, is the fact that because this isn't a native Sony lens and I've got the adapter on, the focusing is much trickier in lower light, and it's much harder to actually catch it. See, there's 2 more Blackcaps now. So yeah, it's not easy. it's not easy to get focus as well sometimes. So whereas before on the Sony I could use a single spot to focus, I'm having to use the extended spot just to make sure. But then of course that means that you're not guaranteed of getting that eye pin sharp every time, because it might focus on another part of the bird's body with the extended area. So it has its own challenges. Your success rate is definitely lower than it was, or than it is in the summer. I suppose the answer would be to buy a native Sony lens, but yeah, when I win the lottery I'll think about that. So as well as the blackcaps and the robins, I've also got Dunnocks in the garden, and they're way more difficult to shoot, way more elusive, because literally they spend pretty much all of their time feeding, I think, in the trees and the bushes behind the garden. Once I've actually seen them eating on the floor while I've been inside looking out through the window. That doesn't really make for a good photograph. And once or twice they've jumped down onto this log. So you might remember the post that I used for the robin video. Well, I've taken it out of the ground now and I've laid it horizontally across the bird bath, and there's a nice gully, natural gully, where the wood's decaying, and I've laid seed in there, and there's a nice backdrop of the yellow leaves, which seem to be what is it? Not deciduous, is it? It's the other one, isn't it? Anyway, they don't seem to fall. They're there all the time. And once or twice the Dunnocks been on that log, and I did get a shot of it before I actually realised it was a Dunnock. I thought it was a reed bunting or something, but yeah. Anyway, once or twice it's been on there, but it's very elusive. It doesn't come out very often at all. You sort of catch glimpses of it in the trees and the bushes and the little gaps in between, but it's not keen on coming out into the open, and it's certainly not one that's going to go on the perches or the feeders. So I'm thinking about setting up a bird table, like making a table, like a nice flat piece of wood, and maybe setting up some props around there for photographs, because you look at the poor robin, for instance. I mean, he's doing all right, don't get me wrong, but he's not naturally a feeder bird, so he really struggles when he comes and sits on the feeder, and he's like flapping about, like struggling, then off he goes, and he's much more happy sort of hopping around on the flat surfaces, finding something to eat. And I'd imagine there's a few more, well, in fact I know there's a few more birds like that, so I think at some point in the future I'm going to set up a feeding table for them, so they can actually, the ones that like to eat off the ground or off of a flat surface, have that opportunity, and maybe set up a few little props around it so they hopefully hop onto there and then onto the feeding table. But yeah, the Dunnocks are quite elusive. think that's about it for me to say. Thanks very much for watching, and also thank you genuinely for your support over the past year, and in fact the past 3 and a bit years. It's really appreciated. Obviously, with us being in lockdown and times as they are, I'm likely to be getting vlogs out on a weekly basis. In fact, the next one, maybe 2, could be reviews that I've got sort of backed up, where I've got a product or that someone sent to me that I need to review. But other than that, probably going to be few and far between. But you know, stick with me, and in fact, you know, stick with us all. I think all of us landscape photography or photography bloggers are probably finding it difficult right now, especially with lockdown, to get out and do stuff. And there may be some that have got content backed up, but I certainly haven't, and I imagine there's a few more that don't either. So you know, just stick with us. We'll be back. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for your support. Hope you have as good a new year as you can in the circumstances, and I'll see you again soon.